We see this type of stuff every day. I'm going to give you a couple of examples real quick, and then we could talk about them. You tell me how you feel about this. I mean, this is one that this drove me up the wall. You know what I'm saying? But y'all got to check this out.
The video that's going viral of me, the healthcare worker that's dancing on top of her patient's head, is not what it is. Trust and believe. All I gotta say for now is angles play a big part, but we're gonna get into that another time. Okay? A lot of people in the comments talking about sex, just all type of dumb, non-verbal. Trust and believe, he's verbal, and if he's not verbal to his kins, then I don't know what's going on over there. But around here, he be verbal, and I got proof. What you say?
Can I get my hug?
You want to get a hug?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh no.
He looks very aware and comfortable to me, so y'all need to stop jumping to conclusions. Even though, yeah, I do see how he look, but trust me, it's not that. Enough is enough. Stay tuned.
So, we start off there, and of course, we end up here. A woman allegedly recorded herself provocatively dancing on disabled person's head. And, this is where she ended up. She was arrested, and rightfully so. And what I found most telling about that clip is she's talking about, they're talking about how they supposedly saw me dancing on my mental patient's head or whatever, and that's not what it is. She's saying it in air quotes, like it's something they made up. It's not something that's verifiable. It's not something that we can see. We see you with our own two eyes. We saw you do it, and you're telling us that it's not what it is. And if dancing like that is not a sexualized thing in some capacity, then what is it? Why do you think they arrested your dumb ass? You understand what I'm saying? Like, this is the type of nonsense. Again, the horrors of internet nonsense. You just scrolling down your thread and you see this buffoon. Basically, some people feel like she's sexually assaulting this person, because the thing is, if you're mentally ill, a lot of people feel as though that there are different degrees of mental illness, but a lot of people feel as though 9 times out of 10, or more often than not, you're not able to consent to certain things because you're mentally ill. And people are entrusting you with, being able to care for a person that is disabled in this capacity. And this is what you make of it. And I got to see that on my way to work. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's a mental sickness. This attention whoring. It's ridiculous. It's offensive. And I mean, this young lady's probably destroyed her entire life. And, it's really reaching a fever pitch to me when we're starting to see mental health care professionals, people who are supposedly experts in some capacity to help and assist the mentally ill behaving in a mentally ill capacity. It just makes my head explode. What y'all saying? Talk to me, man. Talk to me.
Is that the same girl? Mm-hmm. She went from model to Muppet.
Yeah, quick. Yeah. She's hideous.
Yeah. The thing about it is, a lot of people are selling themselves. They're selling their morals. They're selling their respect, their decency, and even shaming their family tree by this whole thing of going viral, because we have now been compensated to act like jackasses. So The more you act like jackass, the more you come with a paycheck, just like the dancing gorilla. Mm-hmm. And now I've seen this African family that throws hot food on the table and eat it with their hands. They went from 10,000 followers to over 1.5 million. So we get like, it's a degeneracy is getting paid off. Like, you get paid to do the more degenerate and wild obscene shit that you normally shouldn't be doing. But because it comes with a paycheck, then you actually go down that rabbit hole with it. And another thing that a lot of women don't understand is, I see a lot of women, they talk about how, they say one thing and then contradict themselves on another. Like I talked about this with their sons. They'll sit back and say, oh, men don't go out here and be chivalrous. But while the son is under your house, you are grooming him to be a man. When he's out there having these birthday parties, or he has crushes at his school, and he's asking you, hey, mom, I want to buy her some flowers. You could easily buy $5 flowers off the side of the road, get a little stuffed teddy bear, another $5, and a little balloon, that's another $5, and have him go and present that to a girl and show him and mold him in a chivalrous way, but y'all don't do that. But then you complain about the results when you say, I'm not spending my hard-earned money on no hussy, and you're telling that to your teenage son. So he grows up like, if my mom tells me that she ain't spending no money on these women, I'm going to grow up with the same mentality. So even when these women grow up, every time they see something like that, they'll have a big issue with it. But yet they only have an issue with it when it hits their own family tree. Like if that was her father and another girl was dancing on her father, she would have the same backlash that everybody's having for her. But because it's her, she don't see it like that. She don't see the problem because she doesn't have an emotional connection or a family connection with that person. He's only there for a paycheck. So she's only there for a paycheck, and then she's getting a paycheck by going viral on that moment. And now it landed your ass up in jail. And now you see that reality sets in for your jankiness, because see, people are telling you things and you ignore it. Like she was out there, oh, it's no big deal, and other air quotes. Now your ass up in fucking jail, air quoting for a meal. And I land my plane on that. Ain't
that some Bobby? You see that? You see that crazy shit? What you saying, bro? What you saying? That's what I said too. Whoo!
Really almost got to get loaded before you even sign into your social media these days.
Yeah.
You're right, man. You're right. Woof. I say this, I used to say it jokingly, and now every day I say it, I'm more serious than the last time I was.
Yeah.
When we were in grade school, in public education system, the public education system had, for all of its flaws and holes and faults, it had an excellent concept. It had the vision and the foresight, recognizing the different educational needs of the general body of students placed in its care.
Yeah.
Enough to recognize that we have different kinds of students. And we're not all going to be able to get a beneficial, valuable experience here in this educational facility if everybody's all together. So we're going to have the classrooms for the special children, ones with special needs. Maybe they have intellectual disabilities. Maybe they have behavioral disabilities. Maybe they have physical handicaps, whatever the case may be. But it would not be in their best interest to be learning in a general environment with everyone else. So we're going to have their special designated section over here.
Yeah.
Then we're going to have over here the gifted population, the students who have a very high intelligence. They pick up things very quickly. They're typically ahead of the regular average student or whatever. Putting them in a regular, general, generic educational system is not going to do them any benefit. They're going to be bored. They're not going to be challenged. They're either going to start regressing to fit in with the people that they're around, or they're going to completely slack off or have all kinds of behavior problems because they're basically wilding out. We need special curriculum and special section just for them, where they can have a quality education at their level.
Yeah.
And then right smack dab in the middle, you have your regular, general, generic educational level, where you have your regular, general populations. So most of your student populations are going to fit into.
Yeah.
They're not too low, they're not too high, they're right in between, and the regular standard curriculum will meet their needs just fine. They understood in the public education system that these three groups shouldn't be together because it's not in their best interest.
Facts.
At some point, everybody graduated or aged out, whichever the case may be, and somehow the rest of the world seemed to think that these same rules, the same system that worked relatively okay, wasn't perfect, but it had a pretty good success rate back in grade school. For some reason, they thought, well, now that they're adults, surely that's no longer going to be a necessary thing, right? Wrong. Oh my God, dead wrong. No.
Yeah.
If anything, I would argue we need that segregation more than we ever have. And
Right.
social media is exactly the justification for that. If you want to know what it would look like if we had everyone lumped up together in all these schools, social media. This is it.
Well
This
said.
is it. The
Well
only
said.
social media network that probably doesn't have to deal with that is LinkedIn. That's because it's strictly focused on business and networking for that purpose. And I'm sure even within there's some wrinkles. But
Yeah.
again, everything else, Twitter, X, whatever it wants to be today, Facebook, MySpace if it's still alive, Blackspace if it's still breathing, Mi Gente for the Latinos if it's still around, all these other social media networks, no. It is bedlam and anarchy. And what you just saw is a perfect example of some of the nonsense that's on there. Now, of course, granted, you can have some wonderful things that are present on there if you know how to tune into and everything else, like anything else in life. But unfortunately, the lion's share of what you see on social media is pure nonsense.